We live. So every once in a while, I'm gonna do that just to let them know that we just basically critiquing it, for education purpose only. Thanks for tuning in to the Lions Den. Hopefully, you already subscribed to the channel, and we basically just gonna go over this information, testify with Bill Clinton and Hillary. So we're gonna see what they do. You want to say something before I play the video?
Well, today we're going to be looking into what's going on with these files, who's in it, what they're talking about, and what was actually in it. Everybody's saying the files, but haven't actually seen the files or seen what is actually in them. So that's what we're going to go over today. We're going to start with Bill and Hillary and where they stand in regards to that. And this testimony is going on right now. So we're tuning in live with that. You guys go ahead and stay tuned, like, share, and subscribe. All right, let's get it.
Glenn hadn't voted. Jordan and Fox are close. They're not. We're having a little technical difficulty here. I'm going to close it. Dr. Fox, if I don't. What'd you say? Very good. Here, has every member's record? I say, Dr. Fox, has every member been recorded who wish to be recorded? Does any member wish to change the vote? The clerk will close the vote and report the vote total.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 19, the nays are 24.
The noes have it, and the amendment is not agreed to. The question is now on the previously postponed amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute offered by Mr. Min from California. Members will record their votes using the electronic voting system. The clerk will now open the vote on the Min amendment to the amendment of the report. Amendment. Yeah. Have all members been recorded? Does any member wish to change their vote? The clerk will close the vote and report the vote total.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 19, the nays are 25.
The noes have it, and the amendment is not agreed to. The question is now on the amendment in the nature of a substitute to the William J. Clinton contempt report. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion to share, the ayes have it. The amendment in the nature of a substitute to the report is agreed to. The question is now on favorably reporting the William J. Clinton contempt report as amended. Members will record their votes using the electronic voting system. The clerk will now open the vote on the William J. Clinton contempt report. Have all members been recorded who wish to be? Okay, we're waiting on one more. Has everybody voted now? Yes. Okay. Does any member wish to change their vote? The clerk will close the vote and report the vote total.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 34, the nays are 8, with 2 voting present.
Pursuant to this, the ayes have it. Pursuant to this vote, the committee hereby favorably reports and adopts this report recommending that the House of Representatives find William J. Clinton in contempt of Congress for refusal to comply with the subpoena duly issued by this committee. We will move to the report to the full House.
So basically, they holding him in contempt for not cooperating, I figure, with the investigation. They got enough votes. The Clintons.
I'll open the vote on the Hillary R. Clinton contempt report. Have all members been recorded who wish to be recorded? Does any member wish to change their vote? Seeing none, the clerk will close the vote and report the vote total.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 28, the nays are 15, with 1 voting present.
The ayes have it. Pursuant to this vote, the committee hereby favorably reports and adopts this report recommending that the House of Representatives find Hillary R. Clinton in contempt of Congress for refusal to comply with a subpoena duly issued by this committee. We will move the report to the full House. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to House Rule 11, Clause 2.1, I just ask that members have the requisite 2 days to file with the clerk of the committee any supplemental, additional, or minority dissenting views for inclusion in the report.
Without objection, so ordered. Ordered. If there's no further business before the committee, without objection, the committee stands adjourned.
It just went down. They just now found Hillary and Bill Clinton guilty of contempt of court. What happens now? That's real big. But guess what? I'm not going to sit here and say, we told you so. But there's a whole list of them that's going to go down. They had already went to court and they were found guilty a long time ago, maybe about 5, 6 years ago. It don't have nothing to do with your guy that's there now. It has something to do with the stuff that was happening prior to that, from what I understand, allegedly. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that out there. Allegedly, this has all been going on for a while. Um, I have really strong resources that says that they all been found guilty of crimes against the United States. So we'll see how this plays out. I'm not saying what is or what is not. All of this is alleged. I'm not there. This is this information that I have seen in the past in regards to what's coming to pass right now. So that's really big. While other platforms are arguing, we're trying to put out here what's really going on. Things that affect you. Things that you need to know so you and your families can be prepared. And when these things come about, you're not lost in the sauce. You know exactly what's going on. It's really important. Now, what's going to happen to these individuals? Will they turn a blind side like they did old Donnie? You know, they just did some crimes. That's all right. You know, we ain't tripping. You know, they all right with me, so we ain't tripping. Or where they try to hacksaw Jim Duggan 360, double flip, bulldozer, just straight flat on the face and on the head. Will they throw the axe at them? Or will they just do like they've been doing and just turn their head and let all the ruckus and everything die down and then act like nothing ever happened? That seems like the norm with these politics and politicians doing this politicking. A lot
Right.
of
So we got
fees.
the big receipt trying to come out, which is Ghislaine. She's trying to, I guess she's, she got closer to minimum, uh, you know, not maximum prison, but she went to, a lower level prison, so I think she's waving little receipts over their head, trying to get in certain positions so she can get clemency. I believe that's what's going on because she is the key, the lock and key that can take all the everybody out because she was the main character, she knows
Yeah,
that.
she was a real madam in the game. Like she really, from the information that I retrieved in regards to her and her character, not only was she a high paid individual that was breaking all of them, she had a crew with her.
Yes, she was training
To
them.
where- Yeah, to where she was putting them on and making sure that they was trained to go get the money on from the married men's that was politicians, right? But we have to look at it. We have to make sure that we focusing on the law breaking because see the morale is not even accounted for. They have no morale. So you have to look at what they're doing to break the law. Being at the Epstein island or whatever, that ain't breaking the law. What'd you do while you was there? Everything got all this G14 classified information that's coming to light. Because you know why? You let the wrong one in. And that one had a little something and got exposed. And it busted y'all thing open like a brand new water ball or something that just got popped. A water balloon that was filled to the max. Cal Williams knew it first. He had pertinent information from a reliable source that said it was gonna all come out. Whoever was tired, and they probably had already dropped the ball. That's why he knew. Oh, some shit about to go down. It all started last year. Now it's coming into this year. And we not just exposing celebrities in Hollywood or extorting the black man, because it's a lot of these individuals are black, right? We don't see the white elites being exposed yet. But that's what this is about. Before any of that goes down, the whole infrastructure is gonna go down. And that's exactly what they're proving. That's exactly what we're seeing right now. Yeah. Them saying before I go down, all y'all going down because all y'all involved. Now, you know what I'm saying? It's a domino effect that we are seeing right before our eyes of what this country really is about. Everything ain't rainbows, even though I love it. You know, every person has a light side and a dark side. You know, we looking at the dark like it's the darkest that can get, but that dark side that we see every day on the news and all that has a deeper, darker side that we don't see, that they make sure that they tell their chiefs and their administrators that better not hit the public. Let this go to the public. Let to the press and that only. Too many woke people, though. That's why he said, I ain't giving no money to no woke people. He said it. He don't like people that's woke. Work for me, make my money, pay my taxes. That's it. Another form of slavery. That's it. Anything other than that, shit. It was good when we was doing it to each other. You know, almost like the crack epidemic. It was good long as we was going through it. As soon as they hit those wrong neighborhoods with them people, oh, it was a problem. It was a problem. But they made it show, oh, we got a war against it. Y'all the one that put it here. Y'all the one that let it come here. It was designed though for to be a specific instrument for a specific people. That's why, you know, it's riddled in inner cities and stuff like that. But really, the elites is the one that got it. Let's talk about it. Who got it though? Who got it? They got it. In different colors, all kind. They got the exotic. They get it before everybody else, before it even hit the streets. It's there to destroy the streets, though. They still, you know, they still elites. They still ain't talking about nothing. Who had the cocaine in the White House? Never talked about that. That was just something that happened. You don't know who did it. Right? Come on, man. It's always a darker side to those who you think is dark. I believe that all the big things, this is allegedly, this is my belief. I'm not saying that it is true, but my belief is they behind all of it. They behind all the human trafficking. They behind all these people that has been getting hung on trees and ain't nobody seen nothing, ain't nobody said nothing. They behind all the kids that's just going missing in large amounts. There ain't just one or two kids getting snatched up. It's hundreds of kids getting snatched up. They blaming it on the Mexicans. Oh, we got to get them out of here, right? But they not the ones that's doing it. You taking their babies too. I remember the last time this gentleman was in office. There was 300 babies that was not accounted for. They said they lost them and that they slipped through the cracks of the system. So how you lose 300 kids? Ain't nobody said nothing. Ain't nobody did nothing. They stopped talking about it. It fell through the cracks. And now we just say, oh, there's kids missing. We're not even putting no names to these babies or nothing. They've been harvesting kids, been harvesting organs, been stealing melanation, been taking our blood and drinking it, been doing all that because they know that this melanin got power. We just too drugged up, sinned up, clogged up to tap in. That's just my thought. You know, I may be wrong and I may be right, but usually I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna say, we'll see. But that's what it's looking like. Those are the things that I'm seeing. Those are the examples. Those are the red flags. Those are the flags that says, hey, look at me. Stop turning your head when you know what's going on. You just don't want to believe it because this is your home. You don't want to believe it because it's maybe your people involved or not or whatever, because there's all nations that are involved. Don't think that it's this one nation that is involved in this. It's a whole bunch of nations and another whole bunch of different individuals from different types of tribes that is involved in this darkness. You know, they gave these elite people the money. You do what they say, they keep you rich. You don't do what they say, your 600 years in hell starts now. Because that's the offer. Money now, give me the Rudy. I'm going to give you all the money you can handle. But you're going to serve me now, and then when you die, after life, you're going to serve me then too. So they know. That's why ain't none of them men celebrities coming forth after Diddy done ran through them and all them people done ran through them. They still trying to act like they can make music and people are not seeing and realizing what was going on. Their numbers are falling. You see them making more music than ever now, trying to keep up. You know what I'm saying? Because once a man get bent over like that, ain't no getting unbent. You bent forever. There ain't no unbending. So they dealing with they intellect in regards to that. Like, dang, I done got bent over. So now they mess with a whole bunch of different women. This conspiracy, this rabbit hole is deep. This rabbit hole is deep, and I don't think there's any conspiracies in regards to it. I just think it's exposure happening. I don't think the word conspiracy even applies here. I think the word exposure applies here. These are the secrets that's been doing. Let me tell you something. I remember a long time ago when we used to watch TV, the exploitation that they're talking about right now used to be normal. it was good for a man to have young women. They didn't say nothing about it. Elvis Presley was married to somebody 15 years old. He was the king, right? Said a black man couldn't do nothing but shine his shoes. That's been their culture. We just looking at it like this right now because of the laws and how things change. They been married they wives when they 15, 14. It's their culture. They've been stealing babies. They've been silencing people with voices. So this is nothing new. You know why? Ain't nothing new up under the sun. Ain't nothing new. This is what it is, though. What you gonna do about it? That's the thing, because everybody got a number. So that's why you just gotta make your difference while you can. Do what you can. Try to write a book, put your name on a scroll, carve a tree, do something so you can be remembered here. These people been doing this. It's not a conspiracy. It's history. It's revelations, right? Seeing what's coming to pass. You seeing it. Now, they do things to silence us in regards to knowing this information because they don't want us to know this. They stick ice out here to disrupt and get our mind on that. They running around bothering people, bothering citizens and acting like tyrants to get us to focus on that. We all in the streets rallying for them. Why the fuck you ain't out there rallying for them kids that's missing? Or knowing what's going on with the guy that has several felonies, but you can't even get a job at McDonald's if you got a felony, though. Throw you back in the ring of things, get you to do illegal stuff so they can keep a hold of you by putting you on probation, parole, giving you a social security card number and all that, right? It's built like that. But you can't do shit if you can't see it. It's a whole bunch of people that's like living in the matrix, like really slow, worried about the wrong shit. A lot of them. I see them in the chat all the time, arguing about nothing. When this right here going on. What happened to that fog? Everybody still got the fog? The fog still in y'all section? Or has it cleared up? Let's jump into it, Karima, about let's jump into this video and this information about what's going on, and tap in with us. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and just tell what you feel is going on. Because and I know, and we know it's a bullshit. But who's really behind it? What is they really trying to hide? It's a real deep rabbit hole, like them caves up under the ground. What happened to the mention of all that? And we want to know, how is P. Diddy involved in this rabbit hole? Or was it Jamie Foxx who was involved in the rabbit hole? Because if you remember, Jamie Foxx is the one that wanted to expose the parties in general. The parties were supposed to be hush hush in general, let alone what was going on in the parties. Once Jamie opened his mouth and opened that phone, he had an accident. Yeah, he had an accident because he was forewarned. Keep your mouth shut about the parties. Don't do no recording. Right? Allegedly. So I think that was the start of this rabbit hole when that happened to him. I'm going to keep it real. I think he's the one that started this rabbit hole. Because after he got hurt, there was a lot of people mad. And next thing you know, one of his good friends said, all these motherfuckers going down. He got there on Shannon Sharp and said it. He had a reliable source. He had a reliable source in regards to what was going on in there and all that, who was there, what was going on. And that reliable source didn't happen until after the incident. And there's receipts to show the time frame on that. So we sit here as the audience. Some of us get the information that they give us and we run with it. But here at the Lion's Den, we don't do that. We dig deep. We need to dock you. We need to see what's really going on with you. We need to see what the public records say in regards to this whole situation and who is involved. We want to see who said what for real, not allegedly. You know, the blogs, they lie, exaggerate, add on, take off. But those public records don't. So that's why we go for the real information. Now, it's still public record. We're not here to harm anyone or to show that we are not compassionate in any type of way in regards to anybody's situation. But we want to know what's really going on in regards to who runs everything and how it may trickle down and affect us. Because what's going on right now, for sure, eventually is going to trickle down and affect us. So it's best to have a heads up on it. Look at all those files. That's a lot of files. That is a lot of information, y'all. That's a lot of information. That's a lot of files on what's going on with these people. And nobody does files and receipts like Karima in the Lion's Den. Yes, yes, yes. If it's a public record, she will find it. It doesn't matter what type of record it is. Look at this heifer here. Does she look like she could send some females to do anything? They trying to keep her quiet as possible. See, she went to jail with Epstein. They say Epstein committed suicide and they left her. Yeah. So they say. All right, you guys, like and share. Let me get over here. Roll something, Rima. I guess she's just rolling pictures of who's in the files. For tuning in. We're trying to get together right now. In regards to the Clinton case, if you guys didn't see it, in regards to Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, both of them have been found guilty of contempt of court for a case that involved what's going on in the media right now with Epstein. They both refused to come and testify, whether it be on the behalf or against the person. They refused altogether. So both of them, Bill and Hillary, have been found guilty in the contempt of court case of the Clintons versus the United States. Right here, you see some images of old Bill with somebody on his lap. The identity of that person is not disclosed, but you see Bill being Bill. We know that Bill liked fellatio because of the Monica Lewinsky case. He had been in these little freak off type deals. He had been dealing with, certain people, so That's probably where he had got Monica, who kept her dress with the stain on it for evidence against him for blackmail if he ever was to do anything that she did not like. A year and a half later, that happened. Monica came forth with the dress, with Bill's DNA on it. It was on her collar. So Monica was giving Bill sloppy toppy. What happened after that? Because Bill didn't want to tell his wife that Monica and him had a run-in, he was then impeached for not coming forth to the courts in regards to what happened. Now, he got impeached for getting fellatio. This other one could do whatever he wants, incite the White House, do whatever he wants. And I'm not going to say and don't get impeached, because he was impeached twice and still got to get back in. So I can't say he did some things and didn't get impeached, because he did get impeached twice, but still was let back in. By the Mexican vote, may I say. You know, I'm not trying to say anything biased, but I'm just giving the information in regards to the polls. 58% of Latinos voted for Donnie. Almost 60% voted for Donnie. So I have no comment on what you asked for. I know our brothers and sisters are with us, and we stand in unity against inequality. That's with anyone. Okay? Inequality is something that we had since we've been here. So, as far as I'm concerned, we've been through it already. So, you'll be all right. When the civil rights movement was happening, I didn't see a number of the Aztec nation marching with us. That was our problem. So I have nothing to say in regards to that, other than it would be good if you did what you're supposed to do, but if not, hey, that's on you too. In these photos, we see plush rooms to where people would be able to go to that was private, for these encounters to happen. Little places or whatever. We also want to bring into the conversation of the whole 304. Everybody's not going against their will. Some people want to be there. They're doing whatever they can to knock down the doors to be up in there. We're concerned about the babies. The groomers are there, and they're grooming the babies. I'm hearing that they got kids coming out pregnant, because these sickos are ordering them and doing whatever they want, these higher ups. Nothing satisfies an old motherfucker than a young bitch. And they just filling out their fantasies and doing stuff and lying about it and hiding it. We all know that prostitution is the oldest game that there is. First job a person ever had was satisfying a man. First job a woman ever had was satisfying a man. So we know that this is happening. We just don't know why they hiding it and what else that they hiding and why they hiding it. We starting to figure it out though. Just know that these babies ain't missing just to be missing. The whole board at Walmart field. Every Walmart you go to, you go look on the wall, on the missing person wall, it's filled up. It ain't 2 or 3 of them like it used to be some years ago. The whole wall is filled up, even with people that look like they're of age. They just snatching them off the streets. I think that you get a little bit of money if you bring them one, like a stolen car. You know, bring me that stolen car over here and let me get the parts off of it. Bring me that stolen car over here so we can modify it and see if this new engine gonna work on it or not. Doing experiments and all kind of stuff, right? Same thing. Same thing. Looks like a dark room.
No, them ain't dark rooms. Them are blacked out victims. And I'm trying to figure out why did they cover this person's. They gave her face, but they covered the guy's face. Why they didn't show his face? Okay, these are victims blacked out. It must be so bad that they can't show even a corner of the picture. So when you see blackness like this, is them blacking out the victims. These are victims.
Wow. Wow. These probably are victims that are babies. These are probably victims that are underage. That's why their pictures can't be shown. I believe that the blacked out pictures are of underage children. I believe
No, that's the
that
truth. I just said that. That is what it is. That is what they said on the site. They blacking out the victims. They backing, and they. The problem is they wondering why is you blacking out the suspects. This is where I'm at with. These are it's okay to block the children off. I don't have a problem with that. We know that they're underage. There are adults rather, but
the suspect may be your judge. The suspect may be your king. Your suspect may be in Congress. Your suspect may be in the Pope's little regime of things. You know what I'm saying? Your suspect is someone of a higher stature. Not saying that any of the examples that I gave were, people. I'm not saying that. Let me just rephrase that. I'm saying that those people are people of higher stature to where if we knew who it was, it would bring a state of emergency. People would probably start rioting, not paying stuff, going against certain companies, like Bitcoin. whose stocks fell tremendously once the Epstein files was open. Bitcoin dropped tremendously. You know why? Because Epstein founded Bitcoin. That's why. Yeah, Epstein founded Bitcoin. So once the Epstein files came out and he mentioned the person who owns Bitcoin, which is, and mentioned it as a third party like himself, it was over. The numbers have dropped tremendously. You don't believe me? Go check it out. Go check out the stock. Look in your Cash App right now. Everybody in the audience, look at your Cash App right now. Look at the stock market for Bitcoin. See, yeah, we dig, and we dig deep. Get your money out of Bitcoin. Hey, I'm not a stock investor. I'm just giving you some advice. You whether you take it or not is up to you.
So whoever that did this files, they was amateurs because the people know how to take all that black. They got the real evidence out. So that's the reason why people speak on it, because you have people that um took that blackness off and recovered the files. So they
That's
see
what
it.
they were talking about in
Yeah,
the
so they
case.
see, yeah,
Let's
so they
check it
see
out.
all of the files because whatever FBI agent, he didn't use a I guess a software to actually keep it secure. So anybody can go in there and add a software and unreveal everything. So that's the reason why they're calling all these people and they doing all this, but they're still trying to hide people at the same time. I'm gonna get this video, I'm gonna get off of it. I just want y'all to see some of these files, and it's a whole bunch of them. I ain't gonna be able to get into it, but it's a lot of stuff that I already seen. I don't know where it's at, but I do have a screenshot um, of a person that they claimed to come over there and supposed to have got married, but then they mummified her and she's part of the picture. There's a lot of information, pictures that y'all might want to go check out, but it's hard to figure out where they at. I,
There was an allegation that disappeared, and I'm just going to bring up the allegation and the conspiracy. It was against Balenciaga. Balenciaga was accused of mummifying people, allegedly. So, I could pull that information up. Whether that information is true or not, it would have to go through a representative of
yeah,
Balenciaga.
we did
I
a
cannot
whole
say it is not.
we did a whole show on that. So if they want to
Yes,
go
we
see
did.
that show,
Yes, we did.
go see
Yes,
that
we did.
one.
Yes, we did. That's
Yeah.
what I'm reminding the audience of, is that yes, we did. We did a whole show on the findings, the statements, the mother's statements, the mother's testimony.
So we know from the
So, it's just a deep rabbit hole. And let me tell you something. Them clears is bad. Them clears is bad, bad, bad. They have a lot of stuff going on. Not saying that all nations are not included. Because if you look at it, it's only 20% of them. The rest of the nation is other nations. So they have to maintain and keep what they have, which is power. And before they give it up, they'll try to kill us all. And anybody can get it, including me, you, anybody. So it's very important that we watch what we say. We're not throwing any threats. Once again, this information is for entertainment purposes only. We have no information in regards to anything other than public information. Just want to make that clear to all listeners, including any officials, public servants, or peace officers.
You can also join the panel if you want to give your input on it. The link is in the comment section. I'm gonna drop it again. You can get on here in any given Sunday.
Epstein files, didn't tell the truth. She got moved to an open prison. Now she's asking for clemency to speak at all. Was it a mistake to move her to that prison? Should she be moved back?
I don't know the rationale for moving her from one prison to the other, but look, initially she had asked that the oversight committee grant immunity, and when we met with the survivors of Epstein, it was pretty clear, according to the survivors, and you know, we had 20 some members in that meeting, that Maxwell was a very bad person, and she committed a lot of crimes. And it was the intent when we left that meeting in a bipartisan manner that we would not grant immunity. Now, what she said today, she's asked for clemency from the president. So I personally, for the reasons you just stated, don't think she should be granted any type of immunity or clemency. But we'll obviously, you know, as more documents are read and understood, then we'll go from there.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
So basically, they might let her out depending on what they find. They might let her out depending on what they find. Now, what would
with this anti-Semitic culture?
Yeah, what could they find that she could hold over their head that's so important to where she's asking for a whole clemency now? She got something that's good. And
she's all through the files. She is the one, she running stuff. I'm telling you, she all through the files, all them pictures, her positions, her move. She the one that was really operating, keeping contact. She the one behind the cameras. She know everything. She the one taking pictures. She the one's doing. She 9 out of 10 chances is the one behind the picture. If it's not him, it's her. They switching position, or it's the little girl, her assistants taking pictures. She know everything. She got Donald Trump balls in a sack, okay? She been holding this for, for a long time. Get him in a position. Get this man in a position. I'm gonna hold these receipts and act like I don't know anything. Soon as he get in position, he gonna be my way out. Because what I know about you and what I seen and all that help, I bought you 1,000 pair of Pampers. I know about you. I prepared for you this time.
I think that the reason that she moved to another prison, I think it was for her protection, so she could be watched, so she could be, safe, because her lawyers know what she know.
No, I already told you what it was. All right, I'm telling you what it was. Just on top of that, I just told you that this is a leverage. Let me get to this position because her sentence was that. Her sentence was in maximum security prison, and these stipulations. She talking about how she was being treated. She came at him in his first term. She's doing it again. She's calculating. She's putting the receipts into play. She's giving them little by little, and they're going to give her what she wants. She going to the big fish. See, if they don't want to give me clemency, you going to give it to me, guaranteed, because I have this information on you. I guarantee you. But I want to play this security of his who's always supporting him. Women are always going to the T to support, even if they wrong. Even if a man is wrong, we go to the T to have his back. And then he get to turning on us when it's all said and done. He had like 3 different women having his back to the T. And he sit there, and turned on them. But these women, they'll go to the T. They don't care if it's a lie, been exposed, or nothing.
You see,
Now,
Bob,
she
that lady.
against a resolution condemning.
Oh,
Is
really?
Julie. I just want to be clear.
Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there? Are you serious?
Gentleman
talking
from
about
South
anti-Semitism
Carolina.
to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust?
my time.
Really? Really?
The committee will be in order.
Talk to Jared Wise about anti-Semitism.
Aware. Please stop talking. It is not your time to ask questions. It is not your time. I'm reclaiming my time, Mr. Chair. One second.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from Vermont.
Was the president aware of Secretary Lutnick's ties to Epstein when he chose him to lead the Department of Commerce? Was he aware?
Chris Malin was a Border Patrol agent.
Okay, so I'm going to conclude that the president, in fact, did know about his ties because he was the next door neighbor.
Shame on you.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
You're
This
from
is
a tiny,
pathetic. This
beautiful
is
state.
pathetic, Mr.
Committee will be
Chair.
in order.
I am not asking trick questions here.
You
The
got your
American
5
people
minutes.
have a right to know the answers to this. These are senior officials in the Trump administration. This is not a game, Secretary.
I'm Attorney General.
My apologies, I couldn't tell. By 2008, we knew that Epstein was a convicted sexual abuser. And we now know that Lutnick went to Epstein's Island in 2012. How was that not a deal breaker for the president? And why aren't you asking questions of the Commerce Secretary about what he saw when he was at the island, which he lied about not ever going to? Why are you not asking these questions? And I see that my time is almost expired, so I will say this. Do the right thing, Attorney General. Meet with the survivors. They have been asking for a year. Meet with the survivors. Do the right thing. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. The gentleman from South Carolina is recognized for 5 minutes.
May I have 20 seconds of his time?
So that'll be up to the gentleman, but
Absolutely, Madam.
Thank you. Thank you. I was curious if you, Congresswoman, asked Bill Clinton that. Didn't see one tweet, not one. I didn't see one tweet when Joe Biden was in office about Bill Clinton. Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once. When he was
Weak sauce.
And also, I want the record to reflect that, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution condemning.
Oh,
Is Julie.
I
just want to be clear.
Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there? Are you serious?
Gentleman
talking
from
about
South
anti-Semitism
Carolina.
to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust? Really?
the committee will be in order.
Talk to Jared Wise about anti-Semitism.
They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million. And Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
It's simply amazing. It's as amazing as Mikey McCoy, right? She's just out there like, what? Let them have cake. Like, what is wrong with you guys? Okay. We're guilty as charged. Yeah, Epstein's trafficking. It's a whole network. Everyone at the top is kind of a monster. They've been trafficking children, harming children. There's all this Baal worship. We're referring to you guys as Goyim and increasing your taxes, making things more dangerous, stealing from you effectively. Money has gone missing. But have you checked your 401ks? Guys, gas is down 10 cents a gallon. Why do you care if we're harming children on islands? Why do you care so much? Are you good? That's what we should be talking about here. Gas. No? you can get petrol now. And it's like, 10 cents cheaper than it was during the Obama era. What's wrong with you guys? How much more do you need to be distracted so that we can go on worshiping Satan? I just don't understand. Please, let's talk about the Dow. Incredible. That's where we're at right now, guys. Up is down, down is up. Like I said, we are pretty much due for a revolution. I guess the empire, it's supposed to be every 250 years before it crashes and burns. It seems like we're doing that. I recommend you pull your children out of these schools. Very clear that they are everywhere and they are a cult of military. They are dangerous people. You don't want to deal with psychopaths that have this sort of a conscience when you're talking about harming children. I think genuinely she does not compute why they don't care about Dow. She doesn't even compute it. She's like, what do you mean? What do I mean? What do you mean? What do I mean? Yeah, you don't want to hand your kids over to people like that. Anyway, so much more that we will be uncovering, and always interested to see with that same energy.
Do you solemnly declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Ms. Maxwell, were you a close friend and confidant of Jeffrey Epstein?
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions. My habeas petition is pending in the Southern District of New York. I therefore invoke my right to silence under the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Let the record reflect that Ms. Maxwell has invoked the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination. Ms. Maxwell, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Ms. Maxwell, did you at any time play any role in Jeffrey Epstein's activities involving the recruitment, grooming, or trafficking of young women or girls?
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Let the record reflect that Ms. Maxwell has invoked the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination. Ms. Maxwell, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Ms. Maxwell, have you ever coerced, directed, or otherwise instructed any young woman or girl to provide sexual favors to Mr. Epstein or any other individual?
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Let the record reflect that Ms. Maxwell has invoked the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination.
At any point during your personal relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, were you aware that Mr. Epstein was sexually abusing minors and adult women?
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions. My habeas petition is pending in the Southern District of New York. I therefore invoke my right to silence under the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Have you ever facilitated the sexual abuse of any minor or adult woman by Mr. Epstein?
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Have you ever participated in the sexual abuse of any minor or adult woman?
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Ms. Maxwell, considering your invocation of your Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination pursuant to the terms of the subpoena, you are excused.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jack.
Channel 4 News can reveal that as little as 2% of the Epstein files may have been released. That is despite the US Department of Justice saying this.
This review is over.
It means that the 3 million pages, emails, videos, pictures that have been released could be just the beginning. So how have we worked this out? It began with our investigations team examining raid footage from Jeffrey Epstein's Palm Beach home in 2005 and his New York townhouse and then luxury sprawling island in 2019. We could see dozens of devices being removed, being bagged and tagged. What happened next to the Epstein files is a little complicated. At the earlier stages, investigators were talking about data totaling many, many times what has since been released. In June 2020, one wrote, "We expect the data to be somewhere around 20 to 40 terabytes," noting that the total capacity of the devices was up to 50 terabytes. And even after live investigations into Epstein and his associates had finished and the data was being prepared for release, the figures quoted remained massive. We're looking at a total of approximately 14.6 terabytes of archived data. 14.6 terabytes. That is almost 15,000 gigabytes. Now, remember that number. The amount of data that has been released is believed to be around 300 gigabytes. So that is just 2% of what was being discussed last year. Now, the Department of Justice has never given a full account of what it obtained. Do they have every picture, video, and message? Were the files readable or not? Or were they full of child sexual abuse and pornography, as the Attorney General once suggested? What we do know is that the total obtained vastly exceeds the amount that the public now has access to.
This administration released over 3 million pages of documents.
The 3 million pages released by the Department of Justice contain a mountain of information into the way Epstein operated. But the emails we've uncovered suggest there could be much more, which raises the question, did the US Justice Department do enough to hold Epstein's associates accountable? We went to the Department of Justice for comment, but we have not received any response so far. Channel 4 News.
This story on Kristi Noem, which just broke today, I had a triple check just because I didn't believe it. I said, there's no way that this story happened. This story really happened. Kristi Noem was changing private jets funded by our tax dollars. When she got onto the plane and it took off, she looked and her favorite blankie wasn't on the plane. So with that, Kristi Noem tells her associate, or so-called, they're saying, boyfriend, Corey Lewandowski, who was also on the plane, to then fire the Coast Guard pilot mid-flight. Corey Lewandowski then goes into the cockpit, tells the pilot that he's fired for not bringing Kristi's blankie on the plane. Then tells...
We've got some breaking news just now. A person familiar with the proceedings tells MS Now that a federal grand jury in Washington, D.C. has declined to indict the 6 members of Congress, among them Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona, Senator Lisa Slotkin of Michigan, on charges of seditious conspiracy today, Tuesday. Remember, the Trump administration was pursuing criminal charges against those members for participating in a video in which they told service members that they have a duty not to obey illegal orders, just telling them what the code says, what the Constitution requires. Apparently, the Department of Justice tried to actually bring charges to a federal grand jury in D.C., and they went 0 for 6 today. Yet another refusal by grand jury members to railroad Donald Trump's perceived enemies. This is a huge development in the story. Carol Leonnig is MS Now senior investigative reporter who broke it for us. She's the author of Injustice, and she joins me now. Wow, Carol. Well, so, okay, what do we know here?
You know, the bouncing ball, Chris, I got to say, the number of times now that the Justice Department has brought or sought to bring charges against people Donald Trump has targeted personally for criminal prosecution and failed, it's really growing. And now we are adding several more Democratic senators to that list of people that Donald Trump believed should be in, as use his words, real trouble. A grand jury did not agree. A grand jury in D.C., we are told by a source familiar with the proceedings, refused to indict these senators for their role in a video in which they basically reminded military personnel of the protocol of being a military personnel, which is that you are authorized and it is appropriate to refuse illegal or even unethical orders. That's what the video said. Donald Trump, as you remember, was furious about this video and said that he thought these people were guilty of seditious conspiracy and could potentially be put to death. Well, grand jury says the government did not even meet the low bar, the very low bar to bring charges, which is probable cause that any crime actually was committed.
I mean, I just take a step back here. In the before times, if you were the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia and you wanted to bring serious criminal charges against 6 elected members, okay, in this case, right? 2 senators, 4 members of Congress, all of whom served before. This would be a year of constant work with an enormous team. I mean, there's never been anything like it in the Republic's history, right? It's just never been the case that 6 members. But the idea that you, like the president tweets about it, you fire off some subpoenas, and then you just go into a grand jury room where, excuse my language, they hand you your ass because you go 0 for 6. That's crazy.
Well, you can say crazy, Chris. I can just say, once again, unprecedented. I mean, the last time the Department of Justice investigated a number of lawmakers
to try to prosecute members of Congress for publicly reciting the law. Not once in the history of this country has that ever happened.
Lawrence, this is a stunning development. It is really hard to overstate the significance of this, the assault, the frontal assault on the rule of law. The Justice Department under Pam Bondi, no doubt acting under the instructions of the President of the United States, sought to indict 6 members of Congress for exercising their First Amendment rights, for serving their constituents, for upholding their responsibility as representatives. They sought to indict 6 members of Congress. It is just such a shock to see the rule of law so betrayed, so utterly betrayed. If we look at this period in the future and the milestones on the road to dictatorship, this is a big one to consider how this Justice Department has been misused, how it's been weaponized in such a blatant fashion. And the fact that the grand jury rejected it, of course, is very significant because that's so unusual. But it shouldn't dissuade us or fail to have us appreciate the lawlessness of what they tried to do. The fact it was unsuccessful, yes, should be applauded. The fact they tried, though, is a 5-alarm fire.
I want to read Senator Mark Kelly's response to this tonight. He said, "This is an outrageous abuse of power by Donald Trump and his lackeys. It wasn't enough for Pete Hegseth to censure me and threaten to demote me. Now it appears they tried to have me charged with a crime, all because of something I said that they didn't like. That's not the way things work in America. Donald Trump wants every American to be too scared to speak out against him. The most patriotic thing any of us can do is not back down." Senator, it also seems one of the patriotic things we can do is not shirk our duty to serve when called for jury duty. That grand jury in Washington, D.C. stood up for the Constitution.
They sure did. And they've done so now time and time again with this lawless administration. But I applaud Mark Kelly for his statement, and Alyssa Slotkin and Jason Crow. Basically what they're saying, what I'm saying, what all of us are saying that are sort of in the crosshairs of this Department of Injustice is basically screw you. We're not going to stop for one moment speaking out. We're going to do our job as representatives, no matter what you throw our way. And I think we all have to do this. Members of Congress, certainly, but universities need to push back. Law firms need to push back. Companies need to push back. While we still have a democracy, none of us can hide. We all have to tell the administration they can buzz off, they can screw off, screw them. We're not going to give into this kind of despotism because This is such a serious threat to our democracy. And I know we've seen a lot of them and we can get numb to it. But what we have just witnessed today is just a full-on assault on our free speech rights and the right of Americans to be represented in Congress by their chosen representatives, and not to have the administration weaponize the Justice Department to try to remove them from office.
Senator Mark Kelly calls the people in the Justice Department who did this Donald Trump's lackeys. That's a kind word for what's happening in that Justice Department, where they are very eager to follow Donald Trump's illegal orders. Going back to your experience working in that Justice Department as a federal prosecutor in Los Angeles, what would you have done if they came to you and said, we want you to present this to a grand jury to get an indictment against these members of Congress for reciting the law?
I would have said, hell no, I quit. And it's telling that the only person apparently on this indictment willing to submit this is Pirro, the U.S. attorney herself. None of the career people evidently wanted their names on this. And they understand that what they've been asked to do in seeking an indictment on a fraudulent basis like this is a violation of their code of ethics. It's probably a violation of their ethical standards under the Bar Association. It may be worse than that. And they don't want to be tarred by this the way Pirro will be tarred forever by this. But Bondi, Blanche, Pirro, all of these people in the Justice Department, I know they won't, but they should be completely ashamed of themselves. It's just disgraceful conduct. And I think any prosecutor asked to bring baseless cases like this needs to do their civic duty and say, I won't do it, and be willing to be fired or to quit. Because, you know, we all need to show that courage that the grand jury showed and that others have demonstrated in standing up to this president who wants to be a dictator.
And it seems to be the same kind of cowardice that led to that raid on the Fulton County voting records. The FBI, for the first time in history, going in and seizing voting records. All those people you see marching in there in their FBI uniforms, following those orders, they're also in a position to say no.
They are, and we have seen some of the top leadership at the FBI be fired or quit because they're upholding their ethical duty. They're not willing to fire prosecutors who worked on legitimate cases. They're not willing to dismiss or seek the dismissal of valid cases like the case involving the mayor of New York.
You see, that's bombshell stuff. And it needs to be underlined that getting a grand jury indictment isn't very hard in the United States. There's often a saying, look, I'm not a lawyer, and I know they're being a bit cute, but the saying off.
I don't know where that Pam went, because she's great. I mean, she sounds like she's serious about these perpetrators, these human traffickers. What the heck happened yesterday? Where is she? And what was she doing there, do you think?
I think she was playing to an audience of one. And she was oblivious to or completely indifferent to how the country was experiencing her utterly rude and obnoxious behavior towards Congress and her contemptuous attitude towards the victims, and not just victims of human trafficking who were seated behind her, but also the families of Renee Good, of Alex Preddy, and all the other victims of the federal government violence that have been taking place. I mean, she had not a word of sympathy or interest in any of their cases, and she refused to even defend the fact that, for example, they unleashed an investigation against Renee Good's grieving widow, and she, didn't even bother to defend that. So we're talking about a Department of Justice that is essentially operating like an instrument of revenge for Donald Trump against his enemies, whether it's members of Congress, like a bunch of our colleagues. A grand jury just refused to indict them, but
And she said she was ready to hear from the victims. No, the victims stood up, and she refused to turn around and even look at them. Let me say that again. The victims, there were many victims who were there, and Pam Bondi refused to turn around and even look at them. Instead, she comes with these literally 5-year-old insults. If I'm that, what does that make you? Basically, is it a failed lawyer or burned out whatever or Trump derangement? No. Those that have Trump derangement syndrome are those who've basically thrown all of their professional careers overboard because they're so deranged at trying to get into the good graces of Donald Trump that they will literally ignore child rape victims when they're right behind them.
So if we could put that shot up where it's Bondi, 2-shot with the victims. I just think it's interesting because here was her moment on the national stage as the Attorney General of the United States, to be a woman who stands up for other women.
She won't turn around.
She decided to turn her back on victims of repeated sexual abuse, some of them at the time in their lives when they were children. That right there is who Pam Bondi is now. And I mean, for Republicans who remain silent, who continue to follow in these footsteps, it's going to get harder. As you could see yesterday, it's getting harder to do what you do because it looks terrible. It looks so obvious. It looks so brutally obvious that you are not working for the American people at all.
Are working for these women who, as young girls, were trafficked, were abused, were molested, were passed around.
I just can't believe as a woman she would put herself in that position.
And so now we have
an American
of her turning.
She know those traffickers help pay her bills. She know who pays her paycheck. Them exact ones that we feel like we going against. She's not going to go against them because those are who pay her bills. Those are who have control over her. Where's her daughter? She don't want her daughter into it. So that's a tactic that she uses because she's scared. She's scared to go against them because she knows who pays her paycheck. Yeah. She not going to look at you. She not going to do nothing because if she look at you, she might catch feelings. Because she is human. I bet you she turn around if it was... No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. If it was someone close to her, maybe she would have a different outlook on it. I'm going to say that. You know, but she don't have no outlook on it because it's not helping her. It's almost like a district attorney or a public defender. A public defender will know that they motherfucking person is guilty, but their job is to get them off. Now, will they fight for you as much as they really, really would if they for sure in their heart felt you wasn't guilty? No, but they still gonna fight for you. And that's what this woman doing. She know what she doing ain't right. She know that, you know what I'm saying, these people, you know, are doing something wrong, but she also knows that they have power. And she knows that if she goes against them, that he's going to throw her up under the bus so fast her head's going to spin. Everybody's going to go down but her. I mean, everybody's going to go down, including her. And she knows that. So she has to come and keep this persona as if she don't care. She's hard. You know, it's all business. You know, it's all about this and it's all about that. She has to put on that persona. Because if not, if she shows that she is weak, he just gave her that job. It ain't like she applied for it. So if he gave her the job and she didn't even have to apply for it, and she gets all this money, why would she turn against him? She's not. Her loyalty until her demise is to him because that's who's feeding her. So us arguing with her or thinking any type of way about her ain't gonna help nothing because no matter what, she has to do it. It's almost like being a part of the mafia. You feel me? She has to do it. She has no choice. She know who she dealing with. She knows who she has to protect. She's not going to speak up and say anything but what he wants her to say. And it doesn't matter if he does it in front of her. Only thing she's going to do is leave the room. Because she's programmed to say, I made you. And you see what happens to people that go against me when I made them. Don't be one of those people. Do your job, keep your family safe, keep your mouth shut, and do what I tell you to pretty much do. And that's what she's doing. That's what she's doing. She knows she can't go against the grain. You see those people talking about they giving up their careers, they giving up everything. You know what I'm saying? She know how the industry works as well. Once them people to quit and did all that, they're blackballed. They're blackballed. They won't be able to get another job nowhere else until he's out of the office. They're done. Finito. Stick a fork in them. If their morals and their values are good, that's just like the mafia. Not to bring them up, allegedly. If you join them, it doesn't matter who it's time to get rid of. You better do what you're supposed to do and not have no emotions on doing it. If you do have emotions, you better keep that shit to yourself because it's a job to do. They don't care what's going on. They don't care what is morally correct. Do what I told you to do, and that's it. And that's what she's doing. If she has a family or anything like that, she knows for sure she better not say nothing out of pocket that has anything to do with who's feeding her. Or they're going to cut her water off. They're going to throw her up under the bus, and she's going to be on her way to prison. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's go back in a little bit of time while you're talking about it. Let's go back in her time, though.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, she, for sure, I believe, by watching her behavior, by her not wanting to face those victims, it's not.
Check this video out. This 2014.
Okay.
And calls for help for human trafficking.
The letter was a
Florida ranks 3rd nationally in calls for help for human trafficking, where young women and children are enslaved and abused. I knew we needed all hands on deck. Businesses and hospitals to spot it, our great law enforcement to stop it, and tougher penalties to punish it. We're taking on Medicaid fraud, pill mills, gangs, and more, and I'll fight to put human trafficking monsters where they belong, behind bars.
Pam Bondi, our Attorney General.
Florida.
You're siding with the perpetrators and you're ignoring the victims. That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course. You're running a massive Epstein cover-up right out of the Department of Justice. You've been ordered by subpoena and by Congress to turn over 6 million documents, photographs, and videos in the Epstein files, but you've turned over only 3 million. You say you're not turning over the other 3 million because they're somehow duplicative, but we know that there are actual memos of victim statements in there. And you also took down the Department of Justice's prosecution memo from 2019. So it's clearly not all duplicative, but even if it were, why not release it? Just release all the duplicative stuff. In the half you did produce, you redacted the names of abusers, enablers, accomplices, and co-conspirators, apparently to spare them embarrassment and disgrace, which is the exact opposite of what the law ordered you to do. Even worse, you shockingly failed to redact many of the victims' names, which is what you were ordered to do by Congress. Some of the victims had come forward publicly, but many had not. Many had kept their torment private, even from family and friends, but you published their names. their identities, their images on thousands of pages for the world to see. So you ignored the law, and even with over 100,000 employees at your disposal, you acted with some mixture of staggering incompetence, cold indifference, and jaded cruelty towards more than 1,000 victims raped, abused, and trafficked. This performance screams cover up. Convicted sex trafficker and groomer Ghislaine Maxwell opened the gates of hell to Virginia Giuffre and hundreds of other victims, as Virginia recorded in her remarkable book, Nobody's Girl. But when Maxwell was subpoenaed to come testify before Congress, you and Todd Blanche quickly moved her from a higher security prison to a minimum security camp in Texas, where she's enjoyed 5-star treatment, including catered meals, private gym time, and access to a therapy puppy. You're siding with the perpetrators, and you're ignoring the victims. You're running a massive up right out of the Department of Justice.
The letter was a warning to me about the risks of testifying here today. But I am here because I will not be bullied into concealing the ongoing corruption and abuse of power at the Department of Justice. DOJ is entrusted with keeping us safe, upholding the rule of law, and protecting our civil rights. It is not a personal favor bank for the president. Its career employees are not the president's personal debt collectors. I see only Democratic members here today, but this is not a partisan issue. It should alarm all Americans that the leadership of the Department of Justice appears to value political loyalty above the fair and responsible administration of justice. It should offend all Americans that our leaders are treating public servants with a lack of basic decency and humanity. The letter was a warning to me about the risks.
They threatening her.
None of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over, the Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing.
It's the Attorney General of the United States about the rape of teenage girls, Joe.
Yeah, we're laughing because she's making a fool of herself.
Complete fool of herself.
Like she actually thinks,
brutally obvious.
She actually thinks that everybody's a 5-year-old in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's exposed, making a fool of herself. The question is about young girls who have been raped, not about the S&P 500. The question is about people all around Donald Trump. I could list the names, those in government, those in his family, those around him that are all over the Epstein files. All over the Epstein files. And yet the richest and the most powerful among them, the people, the Epstein class who is running this government, is still being protected by Pam Bondi. Her binders full of information. Yeah, nothing was in that. And now they're desperately trying to continue to keep this from the American people. Who is in the Epstein class that they are trying to protect?
So if we could put that shot up where it's Bondi, 2-shot with the victims. I just think it's interesting because here was her moment on the national stage as the Attorney General of the United States, to be a woman who stands up for other women.
She won't turn around.
She decided to turn her back on victims of repeated sexual abuse, some of them at the time in their lives when they were children. That right there is who Pam Bondi is now. And I mean, for Republicans who remain silent, who continue to follow in these footsteps, it's going to get harder.
Done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files.
I'm reclaiming my time. I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Chairman, please stop the clock. Stop the clock.
The legislation. This is
time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop a limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell. So should the men who patronized his operation. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer the
theatrics are
question the way I
ridiculous.
asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people, but I'm going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time belongs to
Reclaiming my time.
the time belongs.
I think it's very
Reclaiming
interesting.
my time.
I think it's very
Reclaiming my
interesting.
time.
And you can
When
reclaim
he
your
talks
time,
about
but
they
reclaiming my time,
indicted,
Mr.
the
Chairman.
president said they
Stop the
indicted
clock.
him twice.
Mr. Chairman, please
They
stop the
sure
clock
did.
and
And
stop
he
the clock and
indicted-
restore his
oh,
time.
okay, here we go with
Committee
these
will be in order.
theatrics.
Belongs to
time.
the
Pull
gentleman
back
from
the
New
clock,
York.
please.
We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when
Reclaiming
you ask
my-
a question, the
The
witness
question
gets to
was-
answer. You may not like the answer, but she
Right.
gets to
The
answer.
question was, how many of Epstein's...
They don't like the answer,
Reclaiming
Chairman,
my time.
because it's honest.
Reclaiming
So he asked a
Reclaiming my
4-minute
time.
question.
Restore 45
and
seconds,
I
Mr.
am
Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Reclaiming-
Not on our time. No way. And I
Reclaiming-
told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I
anything,
did tell you because we
washed
saw
up
what you did in the
loser
Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
Time, and I should get back at least 45 seconds.
We will give you a few more seconds. I
Not a
said that
few more,
already.
45 seconds.
Okay, I'm timing right now, Mr. Nadler. Go
All
ahead.
right.
Reclaiming my time. The answer to my question, how many of Epstein's co-conspirators has she indicted, is 0. How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
That says a lot.
First.
She's a professional gaffer.
I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer the
theatrics are
question the way I
ridiculous.
asked it.
Chairman
How many have you
Jordan, I'm
indicted?
not going to get in the gutter with these people,
How many
but
have
I'm
you-
going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time belongs to
Reclaiming
the,
my time.
the time
I
belongs.
think it's very
Reclaiming
interesting.
my time.
I think it's very
Reclaiming my
interesting.
time.
And you can
When
reclaim
he
your
talks
time.
about they
Reclaiming my time,
indicted,
Mr.
the
Chairman.
president said they
Close the
indicted
clock.
him twice.
Mr. Chairman, please
They
stop the
sure
clock
did.
and stop
he
the clock and
indicted-
restore his time.
Okay, here we go with these
Committee will be in
theatrics.
order. The time
Reclaiming my
belongs
time
to the
and
gentleman
back
from
the
New
clock,
York.
please.
We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when
Reclaiming
you ask
my-
a question, the witness
question
gets to
was-
answer. You may not like the answer, but she
Right.
gets to
The
answer.
question was, how many of Epstein's...
They don't like
What?
the answer,
Reclaiming
Chairman,
my time.
because it's honest.
Reclaiming
So he asked a
Reclaiming my
4-minute
time.
question.
Restore 45
and
seconds,
I
Mr.
am
Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Yeah, she's needs to be fired. If she can't answer a question straight, she's like a debater, pretty much. You ask a question and you want a specific, you're not looking for a specific answer, but you want them to answer yes or no. And just give you, one or two, just give you simple answers. She danced around that fucking question like she was on solid gold or not, what do you call it? A Soul Train. She danced her way all the way around that. She boogalooed all the way around those questions. She gaslighted and she went to a whole different topic and started ranting on that topic to get them to focus on that topic instead of the initial question. That happens every time a person doesn't know that they're dealing with a debater. So that happens a lot just dealing with us in the Lion's Den. When a person doesn't know the answer, they start throwing threats or they start saying things about your character, right? Like a little kid in school that really is slow or really behind. And when the teacher, asks them something, instead of them saying they don't know, they become the class clown. They want everybody's attention to be on them clowning, not on the question that was presented to them. And that's the same thing that happens in debates. And this here that we see is an actual formal debate where they're bringing their presentations and information or receipts for the presentation that they're giving. And what she's doing is not winning. She's just over talking and gaslighting. She knows for a fact she cannot, no matter what, she cannot go against the hand that feeds her. Period. Let me tell you something about the elites. This is real talk, Rima, and the audience too. Anything that you say that you stand up against, they're going to make you renounce that shit. Do you remember? I can remember a celebrity, I'm not going to mention no names because, this celebrity is all right with me, right? He got D-O-double-G in his name. He said, I would never go and do the Emmy for Donald Trump. I would never do this, and I never did that. And he got on which one of y'all niggas gonna do it and all that, right? Donnie seen that and said, you the one that's gonna do it. Yeah, you're the one that's gonna do it since you saying that you just absolutely ain't gonna do it. Next thing I know, he was drinking a Modelo on a skirt or walking on the beach in a kilt. Didn't want to wear the full dress like everybody else. But he was walking on the beach, drinking a Modelo in a kilt, and did exactly what he said he was totally against. He said he didn't want the LGBTQ community in his cartoon for kids. Went public with that. Now he got the LGBTQ community in exactly what he said that he didn't want. So it don't matter. Anything that you say that you standing up for, they're going to make you renounce that shit. You know what I'm saying? She stood up for equality. They made her go against equality. That she stood up for the human trafficking, and she said she was totally against human trafficking. They made her totally renounce that and go with the human trafficking. Anything that you stand up for that is right and that is light, the devil is going to come after with full force to make you renounce what you feel is your faith and renounce what you feel is right. The more power you have, the more susceptible you are to this darkness. She did a total transformation for what she stood for and who she was. That's why the congressman said this is who she is now. She put the now there because that's not who she used to be. But when you're getting the bed with evil and you have sex with it, it becomes inside of you. It becomes a part of you. That's why you got to watch who you lay with. Now I'm saying that
metaphorically.
Yeah, I'm saying that metaphorically. Watch who you lay with, because you could be laying in the bed with these people. It don't have to be actual intercourse or whatever. It's just laying in the bed with these people. When you lay in the bed with them, you ingest the evil that they have. Now she's no longer this good person that we know that people voted for, that stood up for values, morals, tenacity, and strength, and especially being a woman, right? I'm pretty sure she has kids. So there's no way that she don't care at all. It's just that she can't care because she's laid in the bed. And that evil has ingested her. That evil is now a part of who she is. Yeah. You're not going to get nothing but evil from that woman because she's laying in the bed with evil.
Oh, she been evil. She been working from Israel and other states. Watch these videos I'm about to hit you with on her.
But that's what I'm saying. Yes, she acted as if she was doing something that was good. She came out as, I am standing up for these rights, for these victims, for these people. And the main thing that she stood up for years down the line, the elites put her in a position.
Yeah, but this lady used to be a spy for Israel. This lady has always been gutter. So I'm about to play some videos real quick. I want to play this. Hold on. You're going to see her identity being exposed by them too.
So, Secretary, what is habeas corpus?
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right to.
Let me stop you, ma'am. Habeas corpus, excuse me, that's incorrect.
President
Habeas
Lincoln
corpus.
used it.
Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump? All of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump, you all should be apologizing. You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it.
Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through?
Congresswoman, you sat before Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
The
Attorney General,
specific question
Attorney General
that
can
I would
respond to
like
the question.
you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Why?
I have asked.
Didn't she ask Merrick Garland this?
I am
Twice,
reclaiming
when
my
he sat in my
time, and
chair.
when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman is
I'm
reclaiming her
not going to
time.
get in the gutter for her theatrics. Have you apologized to President Trump?
So, Secretary, what is habeas corpus?
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right to.
Let me stop you, ma'am.
Suspend their
Habeas
right to.
corpus, excuse me, that's incorrect.
President
Habeas
Lincoln
corpus,
used it.
Excuse me. Habeas corpus is the legal principle that requires that the government provide a public reason for detaining and imprisoning people.
And Pam she was stuttering the other day.
What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information
there's information that new information, additional information. And again, we will continue to follow the law.
Right. So I fully anticipate she's going to say we've got ongoing investigations, even though she had previously announced that there was nothing to investigate. But now she's like, well, we've got new information from the estate. And it's like, well, girl, if y'all were doing your jobs and you were doing the investigatory work, then y'all would have had this too, right?
Hello, everyone. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is now in deep, spiraling trouble. She's staring down a federal judge who is seriously considering criminal contempt charges after she blatantly defied a court order. And in a remarkable turn, Trump's own Justice Department, under Attorney General Pam Bondi, has officially dumped the blame squarely on Noem's shoulders. That's right. The Trump administration isn't just distancing itself from her. It's sacrificing her wholesale to protect its own skin. Here's how we got here.
Department of Justice has revealed that Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem made the final decision not to comply with the federal judge's order earlier this year to stop those deportation flights of alleged Venezuelan gang members.
As ABC News revealed, Kristi Noem personally ordered Venezuelan detainees to be shipped to El Salvador, even after a federal judge explicitly instructed that the deportation flights be turned around. The Justice Department detailed the sequence in a late Tuesday filing, noting that DOJ&D's officials had already presented Noem with their legal guidance after U.S. District Judge James Boasberg issued both an oral directive and a written order halting the removals under the Alien Enemies Act. Despite being fully briefed, Noem proceeded anyway, directing that the AI detainees who had already been taken out of the country be delivered into El Salvador's custody.
The disclosure comes as Judge James Boasberg seeks to revive criminal contempt proceedings against Trump administration officials who authorized the flights. The Justice Department argued the decision was lawful and consistent with its interpretation of the court's order, but Judge Boasberg said deportees likely did not receive due process.
So what does this reveal about Kristi Noem's capacity to interpret legal guidance or grasp the binding force of a federal court order? This is a former governor now overseeing the nation's primary security apparatus, an agency that commands multiple law enforcement divisions and operates at the core of constitutional governance. It is not unreasonable to expect that the head of Homeland Security would possess at least a rudimentary understanding of fundamental legal principles, beginning with the fact that court orders are mandatory.
Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency.
I believe you just lied under oath. There
Still
is ample
won't.
evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath. And this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was gonna stop a limo and hurt Donald Trump. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell. So should the men who patronized his operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency.
I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell. So should the men who patronized his operation. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
Donald Trump attended very.
A list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victims' survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking, Co-Conspirators, fully redacted. And by the way, I'm going to unredact them here. Les Wexner is in this. Now, your your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files, but he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need that you're holding on to and over redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time. Mr. Chairman.
This is how this works.
Can I have my time?
Mr.
Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from.
All right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman, may I give my answer on that?
Here's
a political joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next question.
It's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
Red-handed. There was one redaction out of over 4,700, and we invited you in. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get. You're a failed politician. You need to get on to watch the matter.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules here.
There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday. that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position as well?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I'm reclaiming my time. I'm glad you're asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to reclaim time
this
when
is
you don't.
bigger than Watergate.
When I don't answer the question the way
This
you
goes
want.
over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And that's
Now,
where the
I want to know at what
Merrick-
point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wessner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it back on the screen, please, to release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not. And it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
May she answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on deep fake AI porn. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
The gentleman's time has expired.
Mr. Chairman, could she answer the question?
Chairman, I was wondering. The gentlelady's allowed, the Attorney General's allowed to respond the way she wants to respond to any member's questions, Republican, Democrat.
I have unanimous consent request.
Gentleman's recognized for a UC.
All right. This is an example. I'm submitting these 302 forms that are entirely redacted, even when you go to look at them.
Without objection.
I'm submitting a witness statement that implicates Les Wexner.
Without objection.
I'm submitting an article from the New York Times that the DOJ released nude photos and identifiable pictures of the victims. I'm submitting a letter from A.G. Bondi to Kash Patel, imploring him to quit keeping the files when you found out that they were keeping files from you, because they're still redacting files that you.
Chairman, are we going to recess for votes? Yes, we are.
I'm submitting for unanimous consent a document of 17 individuals who've resigned because of the Epstein files.
Without objection.
Attorney General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Congresswoman, you sat before Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness get to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer. So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't she ask Merrick Garland this?
I am reclaiming my time, and when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady's
I'm
reclaimed her
not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time.
Well, Pam Bondi engages in all sorts of
All
theatrics
she's trying to do is waste
throughout
time.
this
She's
hearing.
trying
I
to
want to
waste
actually follow
everybody's
this up with
time
a
to ask
different clip
questions.
from a different congressman who basically followed up on what Representative Jayapal asked. Like, listen, here are victims of Epstein and the next of kin. Do you want to apologize to them? We gave you a chance before. You want to do it again?
Democrats, but let me ask you this, ma'am. We have the Epstein victim survivors here today. Representative Jayapal asked a simple question. If you would be so kind and honorable as to turn around and face them and apologize to them for outing them. I mean, how many lives have been derailed because your department was either sloppy and incompetent or willfully
no
trying to
empathy at
intimidate and
all.
punish these ladies for coming forward? Which was
So she refuses to apologize.
She has no empathy for them at all. She doesn't care whether they live or die.
No, she's just wasting time. She's just trying to waste all their time, drag it out with a stupid question. That's it.
Because she does not care. Not at all. Her job is to protect Donald Trump, and that's what she's going to do. It doesn't matter what morally is correct. It does not matter about families. She's not there. She, just like I said, she's just already laid in the bed with a demon. She's a demon. She does not care. She has no empathy at all. She acts like a mass murderer that just don't care. You know how they just be sitting there and they just be looking around like they don't be crying or nothing like that.
She act like a psychopath.
Yeah. She do. She has traits. She has no emotion. I wonder what is her family dynamic? Does she have children?
I think she got children.
I don't think she has children. She's acting.
She just got caught up in the game. You know what I mean? So I believe that she's tied into it where, you know, she can't get out of it and she's scared. A lot of them was doing the same thing and they got of it and they got personal threats and, you know, all that done to their children, followed and all this. So they don't.
I just now heard in the comments, I mean, in the information that you just provided, a victim that got her head blew off.
Right. But the person that was working directly with him, just like the lady, he had another one that was, you know, standing on business for him. And she finally was like, no, I'm not about to do this, and standing with the victims. But she got threatened, you know. This is what happened recently, last month, the month before. She's been going through it, you know. So she's scared. You can tell on her face she's tired. She's scared. She got in too deep. You know what I mean? She's on a contract right now. And she's messing with a demon, like he says.
But she's not going to be able to get out.
But it goes back. She was one of the children on the island.
I believe it. She's probably been groomed to Donald Trump. But who knows? You know, that's just my thought. That's just my thought. You know, it's just, you know, there's not even allegedly. It's just my thought.
Go figure. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, would you look at that? Just look at it. Just look at it.
Yeah.
Well, what the heck is that?
小红书.
So I have several questions.
Ms. Bondi, will you?
Behind me, I have 3 documents from the DOJ production that are emblematic of the massive failure of the DOJ to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. To my right is an email that was sent by the victim's lawyer.
Florida ranks 3rd nationally in calls for help for human trafficking, where young women and children are enslaved and abused. I knew we needed all hands on deck. Businesses and hospitals to spot it, our great law enforcement to stop it, and tougher penalties to punish it. We're taking on Medicaid fraud, pill mills, gangs, and more. And all.
I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter. So let's talk about the facts. Fact number 1, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number 2, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, "This is a good one." Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles. What's crazy about all of this is just that this is a big cover-up. And this administration is engaged in it. In fact, this administration is complicit. But there are numerous others, like how the DOJ is attempting to obstruct justice in the investigation of the rogue agents who have murdered American citizens, or how the DOJ seized voter data from Fulton County in an attempt to steal the 2026 midterm elections, or how federal agents have Tom Homan on tape accepting a bribe and your agency killed the investigation, or how your agency is ready to give the president a $230 million payday, which is unconstitutional. The Constitution is clear. The president shall not receive any payment except his salary while in office. The fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history, an attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution. And Mr. Chairman, I will yield.
Gentlelady yields. Gentleman from Missouri is recognized. Excuse me, gentleman from Kansas, the Attorney General, former Attorney General, Mr. Schmidt is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and General Bondi, thanks for being here. Did you have anything you wanted to say before we talk?
I do. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, my friend, for many years. I find it interesting that she didn't even want to try, Congresswoman Crockett, to ask any questions, because she certainly did not condemn her leader, Hakeem Jeffries, for taking money from Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein was convicted. And I will be brief to give you your time, Congressman. This is what she didn't want to talk about. Texas, from Cuba, convicted, homicide, arson, weapon offense.
Convicted.
You know,
So what we
Estrada,
talking about? Convict
Texas,
some of these
convicted,
perpetrators that
homicide.
rape these women that are
Chairman,
sitting
time
behind you,
time
that
belongs
you
to the
refuse
gentleman
to
from
even acknowledge
Kansas.
they are here. I want to talk about the president and his our witness, who somehow is a lawyer but does not understand how it works with witnesses. I'm not really sure what law school she went to and what all kind of cases she tried, but typically when you come into a space and somebody's a witness, then they sit there and they answer questions instead of asking questions. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the president of the United States, stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ has arrested Don Lemon and Georgia Ford. I completely don't get how it is that you're sitting at the top of DOJ, because you don't seem to be good at your job. But let's circle back to you protecting pedophiles and creeps, because I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter. So let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, "This is a good one." Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles. The fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history. An attorney general.
We are joined in this room by some of the thousands of survivors from Jeffrey Epstein's horrific sex trafficking ring. They have shown such incredible courage in speaking out, in demanding accountability to bring the predators and pedophiles to justice. Attorney General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Congresswoman,
Of course
you
you ain't
sat
doing
before
that. Absolutely not.
Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice
Attorney General
Guys,
Bondi.
no, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a
Attorney General, yes,
specific
sir.
question
Attorney General
that
can
I would
respond to your
like
question.
you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about any.
Recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General Bondi, it's been reported that there were at one point 1,000 personnel assigned to the task of identifying and scrubbing Donald Trump's name from the Epstein files. Were those reports accurate?
I believe his name has appeared countless times in the documents
how
that
many
have
people were
been released.
assigned?
If I could finish, I'm going to read you the stats.
I just simply asked whether or not it was true that it was 1,000 folks who were assigned that task. Were those reports accurate?
There are more than 500 attorneys and reviewers. I cannot give you an exact number.
And
Who-
I
I'm
wanted to
trying
ask you,
answer- I'm
I wanted to
answering
ask
the
you about that
question,
also, because
Who
this
were
is a different
assisting
question
with
that
this
you're getting to
project?
now. There were 500 DOJ lawyers and others assigned the task of redacting the appropriate information, including identities of the Epstein victim survivors from the Epstein files prior to their release. 500, is that correct?
If I could have finished my answer, there were more than 500 attorneys and reviewers who
Okay.
assisted
All right, okay.
with the. They
That
asked the
answers my-
question and they
that
don't
ans-
want an answer.
That answers my
Congressman,
question, ma'am,
let
and
me
I'm going to
continue.
move on.
More than.
I'm going to move on.
From
General
multiple
Bondi, would you
You will be in
agree?
order.
This
Time
is
belongs.
ridiculous.
The time belongs to the gentleman from Georgia.
General Bondi, would you agree that your 8 years of service as the state of Florida's Attorney General, the third largest state in the nation, served as an excellent preparation for your current role as Attorney General for the United States of America?
Not only that, I was a career prosecutor for 18
years. And for
18 years.
And for 18
prior to
years,
being-
for 18
You
years,
ask a
you
question and doesn't
prosecuted-
want an answer. This is
for-
theatrics.
Well, no, for 18 years, you prosecuted serious felony cases, including drug cases, correct?
Oh, I prosecuted homicides. I prosecuted capital cases. I prosecuted domestic violence cases. I prosecuted multiple cases, and that's why I feel for all of these victims. And did you ask Merrick Garland this when you were sitting before him,
You also
sir?
prosecuted sexual assault cases and child sex trafficking cases, correct?
Recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're siding with the perpetrators and you're ignoring the victims. That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course. You're running a massive Epstein cover-up right out of the department.
The letter was a warning to me about the risks of testifying here today.
That was some real deep information. Real deep information. Oh, girl gets my blood pressure up. But I do understand what she's saying some of the time, because before she gets the opportunity to actually answer the questions, they're like, same. It's like the same thing in regular debate. You know, you don't get to finish. They don't like what you about to say, so they interrupt it because they know you about to say something that is either defaming of your character, and the only thing they want is to win, right?
Yeah, but when it comes to that, it's only you only there to answer questions. You ain't there to you ain't there to ask them questions, and you ain't there to give you ain't give a long story. There have a whole bunch of people in there trying to get their questions out. Everybody adapt to a time limit. So they already got their questions written out. They know how long it's gonna take for somebody to answer the questions, and they don't want their time to be wasted on them drawing it out on trying to answer one question, which the answer is simple. Sometimes it's just a yes and no answer, not background of, you see how she was ready to answer a long out drawn question quickly about her credentials. Come on now, they pick and choose what they want to answer.
Yes, selective hearing and selective answering. Yeah, for sure.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, for sure. And her not wanting to even face well, I can understand in a way where she's coming from in regards to the victims. The victims happened before she came. She doesn't owe them an apology. She owes them an apology for releasing their information, though. If they're responsible for like knowing who those people are,
And
that's
that's what he was saying.
that's what she should apologize for.
No,
You
that's
know,
what he was saying.
you know,
He was directly saying that. And this is the
yeah.
thing. You're responsible 8 years. You're 8 years into the making. You was there when the guy went to jail. So there's no excuse. Can you apologize? Even, foreign countries apologize for slavery.
Apologize.
No, hold on. Foreign countries apologize for slavery, even though they ain't give us none. But foreign countries apologize. It's nothing to apologize, and say, hey, my company was wrong, and I apologize for the non-transparent. I apologize for this. I apologize for, not the suspects being arrested. I apologize. There's many things that you could apologize, but 8 years of you, defending, not even working with them, not even had a discussion with them, not even sitting down and answering their sides. They're the victims. So therefore, these are your witness. So you basically have all this evidence, but you don't talk to the witness who provided the evidence. Like,
she don't have no interest in it. She's in bed with the evil. That's what I'm trying to say. She's interested in it.
Right. But just because you saying it don't mean they ain't job to question and get on her. So their job is to badger her and get on her and let the people know that, hey, look, we own this. You know what I mean? Regardless of the fact. We know her character, like her character is not really on track. It's the fact that this is what is going on with, this industry, and she's the one that's in charge of it. Her and the weirdo Cass Patel, they is the ones that's in charge of this. So you have to get on the persons that's in charge of this. So it don't matter, you know what I mean? What they doing is basically trying to appeal to the witness too. Like, look, they have it in your evidence and not even giving it to you, or not even telling the people about your evidence. So we gonna question them.
If she got the evidence, it doesn't matter. She look like the type to just get the evidence and throw it in the garbage can.
You say what?
I said, even if she did receive the evidence, she seems like the type to say that she didn't know it was evidence and it got threw away in the garbage can.
Right, but the thing of the matter is, they not the ones that actually release it. There's somebody in there that don't like this and is releasing this stuff. So they have to, every time somebody say, release it, and they have evidence to go at them, and they have to do more. Just like he said, you did not release the main character.
Yeah, he had to go get
until we said something, but there's people that works up in there that's releasing this information slowly but surely.
Well, how do you find out? I want to know what's going on with those redacted documents that were.
Now, I want to get into it. I really want. I could show you something. Hold on, but I don't want to. Let me see if we can get into some of it, because it's not good. I'm gonna try to go over some of these videos because they'll get their channel flagged for this.
Yeah, I was thinking about a video that I saw earlier today in regards to a conversation that was being had with formal politicians in regards to children that were in Thailand and different places and how to obtain them. But I don't want that video put up because I am streaming live. But it was very, very, very alarming. What I had saw. It was not on this platform.
Yeah.
I don't think that the information like that would be on this platform.
We already got people hating, so I don't want to really do, play some things. But if you look closely, okay, because I'm giving y'all a target to where you go. If you look closely into these videos, I'm gonna point at a few of them, but these are the what's in the files. All you gotta do is say what's in the file, type it on TikTok or on there, and it'll show you what's in the file. And like I said, these files are disgusting. I don't even know why they even got it on TikTok, but they're disgusting, you know. And these are children. These are the
TikTok
big.
is more
These are
of a universal thing to where, you know, they show a lot of different things. That's why TikTok was
It's a
in
setup
trouble for a
because
little
I
while.
got my whole platform taken. This is a new, fresh page. You know what I mean? I had over 7,000 members, subscribers. So this is a new one. They took it down. So no, these are setups for you to tap in, go in, so they can shut you down. And you know, even if somebody already shared it and you just reshared it, you know, you in trouble and they still got it up. It's all clickbait for you to get in trouble. So be careful.
Yeah, I don't. The information is too real and it's too deep to be playing around with it. So I'm just tippy toeing around what's going on and just looking at public information and public documents in regards to it.
Beautiful. 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 What comes with the island? There's a small villa here. You could practically build what you want. So they're building things.
Bill Clinton tells Donald Trump to bring it as Trump's attempt to use Bill Clinton as a distraction has backfired. Now, if you missed it on Friday, the files that were released were incomplete, but a good portion of them included Bill Clinton. A lot of photos of Bill Clinton as Donald Trump and his team attempted to use Bill Clinton as a smokescreen to distract from the fact that Trump's pictures were removed and a lot of his mentions were redacted. Well, that has backfired beautifully as Bill Clinton is saying, you want to do this? Let's do this. And he is calling for the files to be released. He is saying, put everything out there, every photo, every name, every image, whatever you have of everybody. Me,
Bill
you,
saying,
that's the
go
law.
ahead, let's
That's
do
what we
this
need to
thing.
do because we should have nothing to hide. This is a great move. Now,
Bill saying, I'm not scared of you. Yeah, it's getting real deep. That rabbit hole real deep. I wonder if you can find information on how the tunnels from the homes were actually being used and where those tunnels ended up at. Because I know that the tunnels that
Cat
went from
Williams tried to warn people, and
Michael
once again,
Jackson house
Of climate change, at that time called global
was
warming,
going somewhere.
that he made
Look, I'm not calling anyone a liar.
of climate change, at that time called global.
Cat Williams tried to warn.
I think it goes before Cat Williams. I think it started at Jamie Foxx.
Early 90s, Santa Fe was funded for the study of complexity theory.
It was math. So let's back up. So why did I buy a ranch in New Mexico in 1993? So that gives you some sense. So I would have funded it in 1990. Los Alamos, which was the high energy lab up in New Mexico, was losing all its scientists.
And Los Alamos, it was where Oppenheimer and where a lot of the nuclear weapons program, the bomb.
That's where the Manhattan Project.
Manhattan Project was as Los Alamos, and you bought your property out in New Mexico to be near that?
Yes, because the scientists were going to they cut the funding for high energy physics. But the people who worked in Los Alamos would still be in the Santa Fe area.
They cut that because this was the Cold War dividend, right?
I don't remember exactly why. It was because, again, people thought that physics and high energy physics really wasn't that important.
Because that was about nuclear weapons.
No, it was because they decided, which maybe not right. This was the same time that Murray Gell-Mann came up with the term quark, Q-U-A-R-K. He picked it out of an old poem, the word quark, but it was mysterious. So they were starting to understand in the 90s that in our world of the physics world, there was things that were just unexplainable. They called it strange things. You gave it a name. You gave it some characteristics. You called it had charm, was one of the terms. It had a charm. It had a flavor. It had a color. But no one, Mr. Bannon, understood what it was. Just like the financial system.
And you wanted to investigate that.
I wanted to see if we could build tools so others smarter than me could help investigate it.
And that was the beginning of your concept of the Santa Fe Institute.
Yes.
And Santa Fe Institute was founded to do study in this type of.
Can these areas of strange things be described by some form of mathematics?
So that's what I'm trying to get at. The foundational thought, the organizing principle of Santa Fe,
Yes.
in the high physics lab at Los Alamos,
Right.
which had been the headquarters of Manhattan, and the Trinity Project, right, the bomb.
Yes.
So you're talking about the elite, the high priest
Of physics.
of physics,
Yes, sir.
which high priest of physics, some subset of that is also mathematics. It's math.
Yes, they're both similar.
Project out. One of the tools you want to do is to make sure that in this complex system, the finance system, I'm doing a lot of this for philanthropy and a lot for the good of mankind, but also to be able to understand this complex system, the most complex outside of maybe our body, of the financial world.
Yes.
Did they create tools, or were you smarter in than the mid-aughts 15 years later than you had been then because of work that was done at Santa Fe?
No, it was great. But in fact, most of the money, most of my philanthropy in the area of, can you describe things that appear to be unexplainable by mathematics? And can you fund people who have new ideas? And unfortunately, when someone thinks they've been able to, there was a man, Stuart Kaufman, when they think okay, I figured out how to be able to predict the unpredictable, what appears to other people to be unpredictable. But my system, in those days it was called genetic algorithms, can predict what things will happen, and they all want to make money. So they use their systems to try to figure out, they know they have figured out the way to make money because they figured out the unexplainable. They try, they go bankrupt, and we start again. So with a cold view, what I've come to realize is that the attempt to mathematize, formularize, or what in your prior work, to understand what really is, in today's world, still unexplainable, is impossible. They're miracles.
But early 90s, Santa Fe was funded for the study of complexity theory.
It was math. So let's back up. So why did I buy a ranch in New Mexico in 1993? So that gives you some sense. So I would have funded it in 1990. Los Alamos, which was the high energy lab up in New Mexico, was losing all its scientists.
And Los Alamos, it was where Oppenheimer and where a lot of the nuclear weapons program, the bomb.
That's where the Manhattan Project.
Manhattan Project was as Los Alamos, and you bought your property out in New Mexico to be near that?
Yes, because the scientists were going to they cut the funding for high energy physics.
Files. Here we go. Epstein file from September 11th, 2011.
In that video, they didn't show the little girl, but in the video where Clinton in a swimming pool, there's a little girl and Ghislaine in the swimming pool.
Redacted to Jeffrey Epstein. Spoke with Igor. He said, last time you were in Palm Beach, you told him you had an appointment with Putin on September 16th, and that he could go ahead and book his ticket to Russia and arrive a few days before you. He also looked into security in Sochi for you. He said, regardless, he will still need to go to Russia tomorrow to sort out his Russian passport, which expires at the end of September. So he will still fly back to New York on the 19th. He will be happy to go back to Russia with you on September 26th. If you go, okay. How is Jeffrey Epstein getting appointments with Putin, the, at this time, leader of Russia for over 10 years? Is he, okay, let's just put this in the column of maybe he was working with the KGB. If he's a super spy, maybe he was working with the Russians. Next one. This is an email from a sultan in Dubai, Sultan bin Sulayem, a big business leader in Dubai. Dear Jeffrey, I'm attaching some media clipping regarding the Israeli operation in Dubai. I will call you around 7 p.m. Eastern time. What happened doesn't help anyone. This is from Wednesday, February 17th, 2010. I don't remember this particular Israeli operation in Dubai. This would seem to imply that Epstein is either working with the Israelis. He's saying, hey, I want to talk to you about this Israeli operation. Okay, maybe he was working with the Israelis. It might also imply maybe he was working with the Arabs. Why is the Sultan reaching out to Epstein? Is Epstein a go-between between the Arabs and the Israelis? Next one. This is an email from Jeffrey Epstein to blank. He passed away. It says Robert Maxwell threatened Mossad. And there are all sorts of weird typos and kind of odd formatting errors, maybe just in the way these emails were exported. But Robert Maxwell was the spy, reportedly a double or possibly triple agent for Israel and Russia and maybe the British, who had a big media empire. He was the father of Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the girlfriend and madam for Jeffrey Epstein. And Robert Maxwell died under very suspicious circumstances and got a funeral in Israel. So Robert Maxwell threatened Mossad, writes Jeffrey Epstein. He told them that unless they gave him 400 million pounds to save his crumbling empire, he would expose all he had done for them. In that time, he had free access to Margaret Thatcher's Downing Street, Ronald Reagan's White House, to the Kremlin, and to the corridors of power throughout Europe. Maxwell passed on all the secrets he learned to Mossad in Tel Aviv. In turn, they tolerated his excess, his vanities, and insatiable appetite for a luxurious lifestyle and women. He told his controllers who they should target, how they should do it.
That's her dad. She got the secrets to her dad.
Right.
So she is bigger than that.
Yeah. Yeah, shit hitting the fan. Shit is hitting the fan.
He appointed himself as Israel's unofficial ambassador to the Soviet bloc. Okay. So
And even that music, Steve, nowadays we compress music. When you have a violin, it's compressed onto your iPhone. So what does compression mean? I'm taking lots of information and I'm cutting it into lots of pieces and squishing it together. And when I squish it or compress it, I have to take out lots of pieces, but I say that they're not very important pieces. It's those pieces that we take out when we compress data, to me, are the most interesting parts of life.
You just said a while ago, part of this new search for science may go back to when people were actually talking about a soul. And
to me, are the most interesting parts of life.
You just said a while ago, part of this new search for science may go back to when people were actually talking about a soul, and you said there's no doubt in your mind that there is a soul. Describe for me what you mean by that. What do you mean by soul? What do you mean soul different than the physical analog body that we're seeing on film right now?
It's difficult to describe in words. I mean, I'm not a poet. Poems get a little closer to what that really means, but we can. Even the concept of what is life becomes complicated when you deal with plants and seeds. Is a seed alive? I don't know. Certain people would say, no, it's dead. When your banana, one of my favorite examples is the banana that's sitting on the countertop in your kitchen today. Is it alive or dead?
What do you think about human life? What is human? Tell me about human life.
But your banana is alive. That banana is breathing. It's on your. You say that's impossible, Jeffrey. No, it's not.
Is the banana conscious?
All these words. These are words. So everyone's trying to fit a very complicated concepts into a very small box called conscious or alive. These don't fit in that way. So if you put your banana in a bag, and put another fruit in with it. The fruit ripens faster because the banana breathes with it. We don't understand most of those things. So you asked the big question. Sorry.
You talk about the life. What about human life?
What about it?
Tell me what do you think? What do you think human life is?
It's a miracle. It's a miracle. And when I say miracle, I can't explain it, and I make no attempt to explain it at the moment. We don't know how to think about it. And anyone, it's again another one of the Feynman quotes when he was talking about quantum physics. He said, anyone, Jeffrey, who says they understand quantum physics and quantum mechanics and quantum behavior, you know they're lying.
Let's talk about it. That's post-Newtonian. Talk about what's the difference. Who founded quantum mechanics? Why is quantum mechanics taking Newtonian physics and taking it to the next level?
It forms a much broader category.
Let's go back to this desk. You use the thing of Newton using this desk. Why can't Newton's theory explain everything? Why did subatomic quantum mechanics or quantum physics have to come in to explain this?
Well, so let's go right back to square one. Why is it called quantum physics? So quanta is a word that simply means packet, small amount. So it's quantized. So when we recognize that this table appears, another very complicated word, solid to us, it's really made up of molecules or atoms. And atoms, we've given lots of names to what some of the behaviors. If you were in school, when you and I were in school in the 50s, the model was a little center thing in the middle, and an electron went around and around it. It was seen as a ball that went around and around it. And as we started to look at, say, well, let's see what this ball looks like. I want to be able to examine that little thing called an electron. We found that there was nothing there. There wasn't the thing. It was simply a cloud of energy that we can call an electron. So we already started to see mysterious things as we go into very super small quantities, quantum physics. So quantum physics started to go into the very small distances. We see things that we can't explain. We just cannot explain. And even that music.
Yeah, we're gonna end up doing a part 2 on this one because it's almost like 2.5 hours into this. But definitely gonna do more investigation and more into it. It's more. It's so much more. I ain't even get half of it out. You hear me?
I know. Yeah, I can hear you. I tried to get into the chat and it pushed me out, but it was on the quantum physics thing, and I was listening to that in regards to electrodes. But back to the Epstein and Trump. Could you roll some video in regards to the card that Nicki Minaj got and jump in to what Nicki Minaj felt she was doing when she went to there with all those men and all of them was there and all of them had their mega hats on. There was no women there. She was the only woman there. And he was saying how she was going to show them how much she appreciated them. So do you have that video?
Yeah, we played it on the show already before, twice. But I want to
For
we could
Nicki
play it
Minaj?
on. Yeah, but but I want to end it and do a part 2 on this right here, and then we can reach. But yeah, that was a whole topic that we had going into her talking about the Christians and how she cared about them, and then she went to the little show with Kurt. What's this? Erica Kurt and all that. Yeah, we showed all that. But I want to do a part 2 on it, so we can bring that back up, and you can get the videos you want to share too.
Okay, well, I keep going back out and coming back in. I'm trying to do this stuff on my phone as I'm moving around. But I think that a number two would be good on this, lined up to where the information we could really just see what's going on all the way from the beginning to right now. That would be real, real good to be able to see, follow the timelines and throw in how these other pieces of the puzzle may fit. Starting with Jamie, Nikki. What does the Rock Nation have to do with any of this? Why did Trump say that he wanted Kim Kardashian arrested? Just kind of getting into all of it, and what their roles are in this. I want to thank everybody for joining us today in the Lion's Den for information and communication in regards to the Bill Clinton case and the Epstein files. As you guys know, earlier in the live, we were live with with Court TV showing that Mr. Clinton and Mrs. Clinton has been found guilty of contempt of the Superior Court of the United States. So we want to see what's going to happen in regards to that. Also, we see that our deputy district attorney is a professional gaslighter. She's not going to deal with the victims. Do you agree with that, or don't you agree with that? We do understand that their crimes happened before her time, but do you agree with her not turning around and addressing the victims face to face, at least saying, "I'm sorry for what you went through"? If she didn't even apologize for putting their name out there, she could at least apologize for the tragedies that they went through, even if she didn't have anything to do with it. So, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about her not addressing the victims? How do you feel about the way that she answers questions or the questions that are being asked to her? How do you feel about the witch hunt, as she says, in regards to Mr. Trump? Do you think it's a witch hunt? Do you think that he's in the files and he has done something criminal? Or do you feel like that was his friend did some bad things and his friend paid for it? Give your get back on this. What do you feel about this? We've all been watching the news. We've all been watching the blogs, but we haven't really gotten to the real files. As you heard, there's more than 6,000 inquiries in regards to the files. Only 3,000 of them have been released, and a number of those files within the 3,000 files have been redacted. What do you feel about what is in those files that have been redacted? Do you think that those files would be harmful to individuals that may at this time need a protection? Like that one movie. What's that one movie with Keanu Reeves, Rima? And he had to turn in the token before he got excommunicata. He had to, talk to the higher ups that was at the table, because he was excommunicata. So he needed to get these favors from people who owed him favors, to kind of keep his name out of stuff, to kind of, give him time to fix everything and to cover up and not say certain things. How many of those tokens do you think have been turned in for this? How many people do you feel owe special favors, because they sit at the table? This right here is just like the movies, that our entertainer has, who loves so much, he loves to entertain, right? Be on big screen. This is just like one of those Keanu Reeves movies where somebody has time before they excommunicated. And there's a whole bunch of higher ups that owe specific favors, and when this individual is in trouble, he's able to cash in on that favor. I'm not saying that that's what this is, but that's sure what it looks like. Special friends doing special favors, no matter if they with you or not. They might not even be with you at all. But because they got that token, and you can turn that token in, and you have a number of different ones, not unlimited, but a number of different ones in high places. Do you think that that's what's going on here? Do you think that these tokens are being turned in? That's why these certain documents are not being shown. These certain people that are involved are not being exposed. What do you think about the victims? Do you think, because a lot of them already got paid out, right? For being Epstein victims. A lot of them got cashed out, done sued, and did all that, right? Do you think they still have the power to take these people down? Or do you think that because they've already been paid off, because they, it's already over with, that's why this attorney general is not paying attention to them? Some of the victims, ran into bouts of depression. Their lives were changed forever. And some of them got a payday. And their lives was changed forever as well. What do you think in regards to the victims and what they actually wanted? If Jeffrey Epstein, who they say was the person who was behind all this, him and the female, both of them are in prison, what more do you think they want? And why do they want it? Stay tuned for the Lion's Den for the second session on this topic and on this information that affects all of us. Like and subscribe to the channel, and give your insight of what you feel in regards to this situation. At the end of the day, I think that there's a big cover up. And because of the cover up, that's why the distraction is ICE and all these other things that are going on to kind of get us focused on that instead of what's really going on within our country and within the people who are supposed to run it. Till we meet again. All right, Karima, I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you like, subscribe, and we out.
Master of fate, drama's not in the state. Cool and collected, weight is tested great. Forced to be reckoned with, stakes are high and bright. Skills on 100, no need to ask why. Magnet for respect, people know the name. Cross the line, feel the change in the game. No games, no lies, no betrayal will slide. High road or the ride, the choice is decided. EA Sports rated E for everybody. These hands are for everybody. No need to be sorry. Confidence is key. With a calm and steady hand, the game is on, and the stakes are grand. No room for doubt, the path is laid. Focus and determination, a winning blend. The finish line's in sight, and the journey's not the end. EA Sports rated E for everybody. Anybody can get these hands. No restriction or test. The skills are universal and the knowledge is best. No limits, no bound, just pure success. The clock is ticking, the moment's now. Make a move or watch the opportunity go down. No hesitation, no fear in the way. The time is right, seize the day. EA Sports rated E for everybody. These hands are for the people, no exclusivity. No matter the background, no matter the name, these hands are for everybody, and the skills are the same. With every challenge, a chance to grow. Learn from the mistakes and let the wisdom show. The journey's long, but the destination's clear. Stay focused, stay driven, and persevere. EA Sports rated E for everybody. These hands are registered for everybody's game. Anybody can get these hands, no need to explain. The skills are universal and the knowledge remains. EA Sports rated E for everybody. These hands are for everybody. Skills on display. Crafting rhymes, weaving words with precision. Music's the canvas where art and skill intersect. EA Sports rated E for everybody. Hesitate. Innovate ideas flowing like a stream. The game is on and the stakes are extreme. With every step, a new path is made. No room for doubt, the future's displayed. For everybody, these hands are registered for everybody's game. Anybody can get these hands, no need to explain. Skills are universal and the knowledge remains. EA Sports rated for everybody. These hands for everybody. Skills on display. Crafting rhyme, weaving words with precision. Music's the canvas where art and skill intersect. Yeah.
You serious? Your side butt already exposed your ass.
Give you 3 days, tell your husband or else he was remembered. Punk rock bitches. You're a cheating liar with different personalities. The drug head who called others one mad about. The 7 thousand nations waiting on a response. The song I did about your man friend, you call it JJ, man, Dick O'Malley, the same thing. You the knock, but wants to put that claim on somebody else. You're adulterous, can't even keep a man, let alone her own son in the household. Run away, you're disgusted, too busy and mad because I expose your friends for the behavior, not showing up and lying that he was doing. You wanna use me as clout like you've been doing. You wanna all argue about unnecessary things, and you should be focused on your man and your household. Because the last time I checked, he was filing for divorce and he cheated on you with your cousin. You're trying to deflect attention from your own issues, projecting your flaws onto others. Your life's a mess and you're struggling to keep it together. You're a cheating liar.
What's been up in the morning? What's the hustle for the money? Still grinding on my journey and I see no lazy enemy. Many nights I couldn't sleep, I had to bring the best me. Now I'm all about the better seats just to deposit every week. Oh yeah, I went where my granny spotted me in the park, cooking the hot pot. Promised I quit the drugs on this on to an ocean full of chances, stocking up every dollar and then elevating high in my bed, smiling and zero regrets on the balcony, finessing coaching me duffel bag. For a phase, I had to escape the venom from the grass, build a different version of me behind bars. Light in the dark, my lily me receipt, blessing the snow way. How my youngins occupy holding chopsticks forever. We praise, telling paid, and Pam down the base, pulling over with them Billy Van, make them clap when I rap. That's the holy trap. Where's the love and loving at the jungle after mixing pipe and trenches flow? Got y'all feeling at ease, cutting up black and then make him donate by 2 pieces of note or let it breathe. Here's a place we serve, no beef, so a vision, and I had to preach to the street where my speaker and my heart and victory came through. By the dream behind the blues and my whip too cool. We came from the home where we don't fold. We've been on the road till the dreams come true. That's some little birds flying to the coast. They swing their doors and they never froze. Hey, I will never, never, ever, ever, never fold. Oh, we came from the home where we don't fold. We've been on the road till the dreams come true. That's some little birds flying to the coast. They swing their doors and they never froze. Hey,
Break as a jamadu, break as a jamadu. Jamadu, jamadu, jamadu,